Hello friends, so I'm Flora, and this is my second lab experiment, continuation to the one which we saw where we created table, we inserted the rows inside the table. So here are a set of questions that we'll have to do using DML. Those were done using DDL, and here we'll be using DML and DCL and TCL. So DML is to manipulate the table that we have using alter command, rename, delete, and all. DCL is using is when we are granting privileges to other users, and TCL is using rollback, save point, a transaction control. So DDL is one which we used for creating table and for inserting values. So yeah, so first question we have already done, creating table, then displaying it using DSC command. So second one is imposing foreign key constraint. So in order to impose a foreign key constraint, we need to have a reference table which will have either a column or a table as a whole with a primary key. So for us over here, we have enrollment table which has a primary key, and we are creating a foreign key for inquiry table which is referenced by the enrollment table. So this is how you create a foreign key. Alter table is because we are manipulating the table that is already given. Then the table name, then you're going to add. So therefore add is a keyword, constraint is a keyword. Then F1 is a name. It's a default. It's any name that you wish to give for your key, and foreign key is your type, and then on which column and references which table and which column has this. So instead of you're using any of the table column name, so then you need to have that column as a primary key. uh, so this F1 is used in case when you drop your constraint. So next one is to add a constraint so that source code could be unique. So we have different types of constraints: unique, not null, primary, foreign, and we have check constraint. So what is unique constraint? Unique constraint is when it won't let you repeat a data again. Not null is when you cannot leave a column data empty. So they have asked us to have unique. So this is what you do. Alter table, as we have already seen the syntax, and keep it as any of the unique key. Now what is primary key? Primary key is both unique as well as not null. So if you do maintain a primary key, then obviously this is going to be a unique key. And then add a constraint that enrollment date should not exceed current date. So this comes under check constraint. You will alter table name, then you will do add constraint name, check, and your enrollment date should be less than sign current date. Now you can use your system date or current date as your parameter. Next one is to change the data type of the batch code attribute to varchar. So what you have to do is you have to modify the type of data. So how do you do it? You will have to use alter table, then you have to modify your particular column into another data type. So next is to avoid redundant entry. Now what is redundant entry? Is when you cannot have repeated rows. So as we have already said, so that comes under unique key constraint. So you just have to add a unique key for that particular row. And the next is to remove a column from the inquiry table. Whenever you have to do any of the operations on a column, you have to use an alter command. So you say alter table from a particular table, then you have to remove, that is you have to drop. So you use the keyword drop, column is a keyword, and column name. Next one is to copy a detail of an enrollment to a new table. So you create a new table. Here you have created a new table with its own column name. So you just have to insert into those table from another table. So now here the select is to select all the data from the table enrollment. So it will select all the data from this table enrollment, and it will insert it into the new table. Next one is to drop a unique constraint. Now this is why we name a constraint. So whenever you want to drop it, you just use an alter table command and you just say drop constraint, then your constraint name. Next one is to show the inquiry of the current date in the inquiry table. So that is, you have to pick only those inquiries which are for the current date. So how do you do it? So you do it by using see, look, you use it. See, you are using all the data, and where you are where is a keyword after which these whatever conditions are satisfied, then these things will be executed. So your conditions over is inquiry date should be equal to your system date. Instead of sysdate, you can use current date also, current underscore date. Next one is to experiment granting privileges. Now this is what privileges is, we were talking about. So that is your data control language. So you have to grant your particular privileges like insert, delete or update to a particular user. So first you have to create a user. How do you create a user? Create user, username identified by the password of the user. So after that is created, you can grant privileges to that user. So when you log out, that user can log in and still edit your database. Now you, at the same way, you can revoke all that you have created, or you can revoke like specifically delete option from, or update any of the option from the user. So that will be revoke whatever options on a particular table from a particular user. Next one is to create a save point. So why do we have a save point? So suppose whatever data you have already entered, you need to keep it safe. Now further we will be learning something on rollback. So what does the rollback do? Wherever your save point is, it will roll back everything that you have done after the save point will not be saved. So that is why it's very important to create a save point. So syntax is just save point, then your save point name. Next is to rename a column. Now how do you rename a column? Because you're working on column, you have to use your alter table command, and then you will say rename column is a keyword, from which column to which column. Now next is to remove a record. Now record goes to row level. So when you remove something from a row, you have to use the syntax called delete. So it will be delete from table name, where then your condition that it should be equal to your current date. Another one is to use the property of rollback. So what does rollback do? Rollback, as I've told in SavePoint, it will go back to a particular time. So whatever changes I've made of deleting a row and all, it will be backed up. These things will not reflect a change after your rollback. Now commit is to only your DDL commands are auto commit. Others and all you'll have to commit, otherwise it will not be saved in the database. So this is my lab experiment 2. Thank you.